A major fire emergency is hitting communities in and around the Grampians National Park in Victoria's west. Residents of Pomonal and Bellfield have been told it is too late to leave as an emergency level bushfire moves through that area. The local MP has given unconfirmed reports homes have already been lost.
It follows a dangerous day in Victoria. Hundreds of thousands are still without power after wild storms swept across the state late yesterday, crippling transmission towers. Stephanie Ferrier is at Victoria's State Control Centre. Patrick Mitchell is in the storm-hit suburb of East Bentley. Steph, I want to start with you because I need to know what's the latest with those fires.
Good morning, Lisa. Yes, firefighters are continuing to battle those blazes, particularly in Victoria's west. And we saw yesterday 5 firefighters actually suffer some minor burns from cinders when they became caught by a very fast-moving bushfire in Pomonal, which is just southeast of Horsham, just on the fringes of the Grampians National Park. And unfortunately, given the fact that we saw wind gusts of up to 100 kilometres per hour when that gusting wind change came through, changing from a northerly to a southwesterly, they weren't able to get out in time. We heard just a short while ago from Jason Heffernan, the CFA's chief officer, and he says that this is really a firefighter's worst nightmare, entrapment, but it's a situation that they train for. They're very highly skilled. Thankfully, that training swung into action and they were able to keep themselves, thankfully, relatively okay.
Certainly a very close call for firefighters there, for that CFA crew that got entrapped. But such were the conditions yesterday, the heat, the wind, the fire intensity that we saw that led to a significant run for that Bellfield fire. In fact, it's now at some 2,100 hectares. And as we know this morning, we do know there has been property loss.
And he's talking about property loss there because we, at this stage, still don't know the details of just how many homes might have been destroyed. We heard earlier from the MP in the area, Emma Keeley, suggesting up to 30 homes. However, Jason Heffernan hopes that it's actually going to be less than what we've previously feared. He says that there will be rapid impact assessment teams going into the fire ground to try to work out just what properties have been destroyed, and he says it's very difficult to tell because obviously some of those could simply be outbuildings or sheds. Now, he does say that in that Pomonal area there is still that emergency warning. That means that it is now too dangerous to be able to leave, so people there must take shelter. That fire is moving in a southeasterly direction, and that's around Bellfield. There is hard work by firefighters that's managed to contain another bushfire that was an emergency warning and was downgraded just earlier this morning to a watch and act, which is in Dadswells Bridge, Glenorchy, St Helens Plains and Walwal. So that is good news. He says that they are also working really hard on a Newtown fire, which is south of Ballarat as well. And that is where they've used heavy machinery throughout the night to be able to contain that to an advice level instead of what they were concerned about, which was it starting to break away and threaten homes there.
Yeah, we're thinking about everyone out there. Patrick, there was some wild weather yesterday afternoon as well. What are you seeing this morning?
I tell you what, Lisa, I mean, as you know, I'm not a very tall man, but if you take a look at this tree behind me, it's been completely uprooted. It's a huge gum tree that came down during this storm yesterday afternoon, and it just gives you a sense of how ferocious those winds were when they hit Melbourne's southeast, particularly yesterday afternoon. And as I was saying earlier, that this storm probably couldn't hit at a worse time for parents. So this was school pickup time here in East Bentley. We're not far from another school that was struck by lightning. We had some schools closed temporarily due to the storm damage. Even university classes at Monash, if anyone actually still attends their lectures, that wasn't on for that time being during this storm. We had medical appointments that were called off because it was just too dangerous to be out and about. This morning, thankfully, you can see the conditions have well and truly eased. It's quite a cool morning here in Melbourne this morning, very different to what we saw yesterday afternoon. But of course, the clean-up is well and truly underway. The big concern is the amount of homes and businesses without power. Last count, it was around 260,000 without power as we go to air this morning. At the peak of this crisis, it was more than 500,000. That's 500,000 properties without power. The state's energy minister described it as one of the biggest outage events the state's ever seen. And the main reason for the outage, the reason they were so widespread and continue to affect us this morning, is those transmission towers that went down near AGL's coal-fired power plant in Gippsland. Of course, it's going to take a long time to repair things like that, so you can expect a lot of homes will be without power for some time, and the clean-up, well, it's only just begun, Lisa.
Patrick and Steph, thanks for the updates.